Hello, my name is Brad Wolgamott, and I hope you are doing well today. I'm going to take a few minutes with you, and this is a little bit of a longer video than typically, but I want to establish a platform for which we can move forward from. I have the blessed opportunity of being born into an era where the beginning of my adult life was the beginning of this new era we will call the information age. I can remember being 17, 18 years old and then talking about email. And by the time I was a young man starting in my career as an employment recruiter, email was just becoming a thing. So my entire adult life has been the move from Web 1.0, Web 2.0, and now Web 3.0, which I'll try to explain to you the concepts of that in a minute. But what's happened is that we recognize that the masters of today are rarely the masters of yesterday. And I believe that the masters of tomorrow will not be the masters of today. And what I mean by that is that rarely is a company able to jump from generation to generation to generation. They're so consumed by managing their current condition, they miss the next big thing. And if you could look at just automobiles, the transportation was horses, and the guys that made the train didn't own horses, even though they called them iron horses. The iron horse eventually became a car. The guys that made trains did not make cars. The guys inventing airplanes didn't come out of the automotive industry, we know that, and the guys that ended up doing FedEx and delivering mail didn't come out of the airline industry, and the fax machine development did not come from a guy that worked at FedEx. It's amazing how these things happen. And today we have a thing called PDFs, and who does a fax? It's an old technology already, and yet it's relatively new. The world changes. If you look at the hardware industry, right, IBM dominated it, and they thought that there was no money in software, so they let a guy named Billy start this little company, buys this thing called DOS in Albuquerque for a documented $400,000, and starts this company called Microsoft as compared to hardware software. Before you know it, Microsoft is one of the most powerful, dominant companies in the world. And underneath Bill Gates' nose, if you will, comes this thing called search engines, and then Google starts, and all of a sudden we're navigating the web through these search engines, and Microsoft missed it. And then right underneath Google's nose comes social media. Right out from underneath them you see these MySpace and Facebook, and now of course Snapchat and Instagram, and you name it, they're all over the place. And then right underneath their nose are these communication apps. You wouldn't think that communication would come after that, but the guys who created WhatsApp, where he interviewed at Facebook, they said no, and he went across the street, got funding, and opened up WhatsApp, and recently that was sold for $19 billion. My point is what? We can become so consumed with what's going on now, we miss the next big thing. And I think in a lot of our worlds, a lot of us do this. We have a job. We're so busy trying to make it happen, trying to climb the ladder and manage our families and our kids and all of our responsibilities that we miss the next opportunity. I would almost guarantee every one of you, if you're in your 30s or 40s or even 50s, you could tell me a story about a piece of real estate you wished you would have bought. That one point was a BlackBerry patch, and now it's a hotel and a strip mall. I personally have 2 and 3 stories like that where I almost bought it, but almost. I didn't have any money. I couldn't afford to play. So oftentimes there may be opportunity for the next big thing, but you can't afford to play because you don't have the money. Well, here's the reality, folks. The factory of the 21st century is not in the big buildings. It's in users. We're trading square footage for user groups. That the money of the 21st century is going to be based on who can direct this traffic. I believe it was Michael Dell who said, the company or the individuals that can draw the connection between a social experience and a financial experience will dominate the next level of web development. Meaning, I'm on my web, I'm having fun, I'm connecting, I'm part of a culture, I'm part of a tribe. At the same time, I'm doing business and making money and generating wealth for myself. So we live in this new era where it's about user-generated content and user-generated users. So let me try to draw you a picture so you kind of understand where it's coming from, and I apologize for the length of this video, but I really want to dig in just for a second. Web 1.0, let's go all the way back to the 90s. Web 1.0 was a one-way concept, information coming at us, right? It was simply emails, education, basic communication coming at us, okay? And most of us remember this era. Web 2.0, if you're a millennial, you grew up in Web 2.0. If you're a Generation Y, you came into your maturity in Web 2.0, and that's when you started seeing search engines, right? We began to be able to navigate the web based on what we wanted versus what they wanted. It was all one way, it became two-way. Late 2.0 would be considered social media era, which is pre-3.0, which is the semantic search concept. So Web 2.0 is where we introduced e-commerce, where you literally could log on to a website and begin to shop. The problem with this era was what? It was an idea before its time. Technology wasn't fast enough, right? You'd get slowed down trying to get rich, complex information on your screen, right? We didn't have the technology in our homes. We didn't have the technology in our offices. You'd pay large amounts of money for a T1 line that had all its ability, and yet no one could get it in their house. So it wasn't available to the masses. But as this matured, as 2.0 rolled in, all of a sudden it became very interactive. 2.0 late came when it came into our hands. We went from the desktop to the hand top, if you will, to where now the average person is on their phone hundreds of minutes a day. Hard to believe, but true. I think the average user is of 120 minutes a day on their mobile device. There was a day when you were charged per minute. You were charged per amount of data. Now everybody has unlimited data, but that was preposterous to propose that just 10 years ago. So we live in this new era where 2.0 is so rich and so powerful, everybody's about it. But this is when you saw the development things like Wikipedia, where it was user-generated and user-held accountability. And then you saw things like eBay, right? Major sales program. That's been on for like 10 years, but still very profitable. And then you had PayPal. PayPal was so successful that a couple guys broke off and they developed YouTube. And YouTube, at one point, was the fastest company to a $1 billion valuation. The first billion-dollar company took some 50-some years. YouTube, was there in 18 months. They were the fastest company ever to a billion-dollar valuation. Now you come in here to present day and you take companies like Snapchat, who recently went public at a $30 billion valuation, and the owner at 26 years of age was valued at $4 billion, the second youngest billionaire in history. Now we're introducing the next opportunity, and this is what we have to understand. Web 3.0 is about semantic search, and so let me explain it to you. Web 3.0 is the merger between machine and man, okay? Which you would call artificial intelligence. But since that freaks most of us out, basically what it means is that the machine, the computer, is getting smart enough to interpret our lack of ability to communicate, okay? If you've ever traveled around the world and you don't speak their language, you use the basic fundamental words to execute what you need to do, whether it be find a taxi, find a bathroom, get a meal, find a train station, and use basic words. Well, the computer in its infancy stage, and then in Web 2.0, moving through more of a maturity age, it began to recognize accents, different uses of words, different meanings of words. Well, 3.0 is our ability to say, I'm looking for a coffee cup that's brown, that holds 9 ounces, that I can put in my microwave, that has a picture of my face on it. Boom, and there it is. The ability for you and I to have a conversation, if we're discussing something, you talk about catching a salmon, and it was 27 pounds, and it was chrome bright, and you caught it in this cove on the coast of British Columbia, on Vancouver Island, and you would explain it until the point where I had a full picture. Well, imagine if you could search the internet through the same kind of specifics. Instead of just typing in 5 or 6 words and the internet knowing basically what you mean, and then big businesses buying those keywords, so when you do your search it shows the top 10 apps or top 10 articles or top 10 websites based upon what? Who paid the money? Who paid for the most dollars per clicks? Who pays to be in the top of the algorithms of search engines through SEO or search engine optimization? Well, 99% of us are over it. We're over SEO. We're over the fact that don't send me where you want to send me where I want to go. And that's the change that the internet is now beginning to unfold. That we are in a situation where we've created all of this content. It's about time we build an empire without an empire. In other words, as I said earlier, we're developing the users versus the square footage. We're in a situation where we developed all this content. I'll give you a classic example. GoPro has a competition a couple of years ago for the best GoPro video. They got so much content, they created a GoPro channel, sold the information back to us, and we pay $8, $9, $10 to watch these videos that we gave them. What has made Facebook a $300 billion company in valuation? What happened? We got engaged, some would say addicted, to this concept of posting everything about our life, and this is how we shared everything. It's created a problem called SMSI, or social media self-images, and you can see the addicts. Like you can see a drinking addict where they have really weird behavior when they're drinking. You see people have very weird behavior when they're taking their 150th selfie. I mean, one of the most breakthrough gizmos of the 21st century is the what? The selfie stick. Are you kidding me? You know, an extendo arm, go gadget, and the guy's made millions and millions of dollars because we are so obsessed with taking pictures of ourselves that you get this thing to take these pictures because it's created this whole world. Well, versus ragging on that, let's just talk about what that means. We have created, the world has created this dynamic where we gather into these cultures, these tribal formats of Snapchat or you know all the companies. The basic idea is we gather because it's fun. We gather because it's cool. We gather because we get likes. And we get little endorphin releases in our brains because we got 30 likes or 80 likes or 1,000 likes or 3,000 likes or whatever the case might be. And we develop this whole scenario around this. Well, it's time to engage. Web 3.0 is your turn. It's your turn to build something. So instead of going out and building a competitive for one of these social media environments, why don't we recognize the addiction to social media? Why don't we realize the addiction to this handheld device that literally, if you left your house, you'll turn around and go get it. You can forget your shoes. You're like, it's all right. We'll go barefoot. Or I'll go buy new shoes. You forget your phone? Forget about it. Ever have a dead battery? All the time, right? How many times do you pick up your phone to do something? My battery's dead. I can't take a picture. I can't text. I can't call. I can't map. I don't know what time it is. So I don't even wear a watch anymore. My world is right here in my hand. It's such an amazing concept. Well, guess what? Now it's our time. B2C, business to consumer, 2015, 1.5 trillion. I'm not even sure. I think that's 12 zeros. 1.5 trillion. Trillion is 1,000 billion, a billion's 1,000 million. I know you know that, but when you say billions and trillions and quadrillions, they're just alien numbers. The reality is, this is a massive shift. That is bigger than most countries in the world. This shift is so radical, and the application economy is something you need to engage in. I was doing a talk the other day out in Toronto, and I asked this group, how many apps do you think get downloaded per day? And I said, how many guys think 100 million? A handful of people, usually the older folks, oh yeah, 100 million. And they go, no, more. And I say 200 million, a few more hands up. I say, how about 400 million? They go, oh yeah. How about 500 million? And almost everybody's hand went up. I said, you are right, 500 million every single day. Last year, 180 billion apps were downloaded. And they project that by 2020, it'll double again. We're talking 350 billion apps a year. That's a billion apps a day. What does that mean? That means the world is moving into our hand. So what does that create for us? That creates the opportunity for us to create large amounts of revenue because companies are willing to pay significant amounts of money if you're street level marketing. We'll call it street level because it's just street level. It's just human to human, person to person versus big box, big marketing, pay per click, search engine optimization. Those are probably going to continue to be around, but the reshaping is going to make you and I the infopreneur. Semantic Search 3.0 is the fact that every one of us is going to be from here, I need this. You'll program your search engines in as you currently do. You always use the same search engine, whether that be Google or Bing or what have you. And if you're a shopper and you use whatever, Amazon or eBay or Craig's or whatever the latest and greatest, you build your profile. Well, imagine if we as individuals over the next 4 to 5 to 10 years, and as Web 3.0 starts and begins to run, as semantic search, as we collide between human and machine, and we literally can put people into the digital mall of the 21st century and begin to create an ongoing income that lasts for I don't know how long. Well, I mean, we don't know, but I know for the fact of the matter is I'm going to be buying food until I die. I'm going to buy clothing until I die. The new clothing companies now are designing yoga pants that you put on that literally send feedback back to manufacturer of your exact size, and you can custom-made clothing. That will be the case for suits, swimsuits, shirts, customized clothing. You're now seeing the deployment of drones which is less than 4 years away and maybe sooner, the ability to literally order something and have it delivered in 30 minutes, the world we live in is radically transforming. And I, as an infopreneur, I'm going to get a slice of it. I would encourage you to do the same. Find a way to engage in 3.0. Find a way to engage in this new world, not e-commerce, mobile commerce. The knee in the curve was 2011. If you go back and look, 2011 is known as a year where the number of minutes we spent on our phone literally went up by 91%. Show me another activity in your world that doubled in 1 year. And you will see why the knee in the curve of e-commerce to mobile commerce radically changed. That virtually every one of us shops something. It is predicted that we will be doing $2.35 trillion in mobile/e-commerce this year, 2017. 2015 is 1.5. We haven't seen 2016 yet. The numbers aren't out yet. But predicted to literally just about double. Get your piece of it, folks. Find a way. Do your research. Go on to some websites. Find out what they're about. I want to recommend a company called Quora, Quora.com. It's a tremendous site. It will give you the stats, the numbers, to do your research, to do your homework, to find out what we're all about. I'm going to get a piece of it. I recommend you do the same. I'm just saying, in my 25 years of business, I've had a chance to observe this firsthand. I have no doubt about our ability to say, I want this, and have it land in my yard in 30 minutes. Now, I'm not going to get a new sofa, but I don't need a sofa very often. I'm talking about the everyday simple things. And if we can get a piece of it, I know I am. I would suggest you do the same. The idea that social marketing, of our ability to communicate ideas via the web, to connect people to a habit of consuming and shopping, connecting and sharing and socializing, that's the 21st century. Get your piece of it. It's going to be a tremendous thing to watch. I've enjoyed the last 25 years. I've had incredible financial benefits of it, but I don't think we've even begun to scratch the scratch of what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. I hope you get your piece of it. I hope this helps. I'd encourage you to follow along. Stay tuned for more Trepo Economics updates. We'll call them Trepo updates, and we'll keep you posted. Engage. See you soon.